Chicagoland. Welcome to Retire Your Way, powered by Thrive with Ben Heizer. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. Ben, it is great to see you again here, right in our hometown, Chicagoland. How you doing?
Always excited to be with you, Spike.
Well, I'm really excited because you are going to uncover some investment retirement secrets today.
Oh, yeah.
I've got some great questions for you, so thank you for putting all of this together. This looks like it's going to be a fantastic program today. But when it comes to the kinds of things that we have accumulated leading up to retirement, do most people understand what they have in their accounts?
You know, oftentimes I find that we don't. And I'm not immune to this, Spike. Well, the reason I'm in the financial industry is because we weren't educated very well. In fact, if you don't know the story, I was in college right before the dot-com bubble burst. Our grandma passed away, left us an inheritance. I didn't grow up with a whole lot of money. Now, we gave that money to an advisor, and that person put the money into the market. And what I didn't understand is, what was my risk? They didn't sit and educate us on, hey, there's a risk speed between 1 and 99, 99 being the most aggressive, 1 being the slowest, right? And hey, we're putting you in some really aggressive stocks that are traveling 99. Are you comfortable with being able to lose 85% of a portfolio? So as you can imagine, when the dot-com bubble burst, I'm sitting in college and we're watching the money that my grandma worked for her entire life. And she, raised my dad as a single parent for a long time after his dad passed away, and just, really felt very disrespectful because we didn't have the knowledge to make that decision. So we ended up firing that person. But why did we fire him? Because he lost us 85% of the portfolio? Well, that's one reason. But the big reason is the expectation that was set was never set. There was no expectation of here's how much you can lose. Are you comfortable with it? Maybe you can relate with that. Do you and can you answer the question, do you understand your investments? Do you understand the risk speed that you have? Do you understand the maximum drawdown in your portfolio? And has anyone ever tailored a portfolio that matches up with your risk tolerance and objectives? Because it is all about risk when we step into retirement. It's about mitigating all the different things that come at us that erode at what we can do to live out our dream. I don't want you to compromise. We don't want you to survive because we didn't understand. We want you to thrive, and that's why we empower you with knowledge first.
Well, how do you do that preemptively? Is this making sure that your clients understand what kind of investments they're going to be in, simplifying what all of their groupings are? How do you educate them on knowing here is your risk factor, or if you're totally anti-risk, well, let's do something like this. How do you do that before something like this happens?
Well, I think a lot of companies try to simplify things in the sense where they put us in bands, right? Are you conservative? Are you moderate? Are you aggressive? But actually, with some of the cool and the newer technology, if we're up to speed on what we can do here, we can actually it's kind of like taking your car into the dealership, right? It's different today than it was in the past, right? What did they used to do? You used to have to listen to, with a stethoscope.
They literally take a stethoscope and they tack on the radiator and see what's going on in there and the carburetors. And
so crazy. And so my uncle used to build muscle cars, and so I can relate with that, thought process of how is things wrong with this old way of thinking. Well, today we can use technology to aid us because it can pull data from all different things that we can't even do in our human nature that helps us make decisions based on an unbiased assessment. And so what it does is, think about it like today. We take our car in to have it looked at, and what's going to happen? They're going to take the computer and they're going to plug it right into the car, and it's going to say, here's what's not optimally working in your vehicle. Here's what needs to be fixed. Here's a warning. Would you like us to solve this challenge? Right? Would you like us to make the vehicle run the most efficiently? What's the issue, though? The issue is that if you don't bring your car to the dealership, can they plug it in and assess it? No. That's like a statement to me, right? If you bring in an investment statement, we can take a look at the investment positions that you have. We can send that over to our paraplanner or CFPs. They'll plug it into the system, and then it tells us a story. It tells us, A, how fast you're currently traveling in your portfolio. We can also play a game figuring out what do you feel comfortable taking as a risk and figuring out your custom risk speed, right? And then compare it. It's kind of like this. Say you're driving your family, right? We're driving my family. I'm thinking like a minivan right now.
Okay,
we got them all in the back seat. I got 4 kids. I got 4 daughters. So we're driving our family in our SUV, our minivan, and we're traveling 70 miles an hour. But the curve we're about to take, you're only supposed to drive a max speed of 30. What is the potential? I want you to think about that. What would happen? Have you ever done that? Are you doing it with your investment portfolio? Because oftentimes what we find is that people are driving 70 or 80 in their portfolios because people focus on, here's the growth, magical growth, magical growth. And what we're not really looking at is over time, we can actually make a better rate of return by not taking large steps backwards. And that's understanding the risk that you have, mitigating it, eliminating it. Hey, we haven't seen an extended recession in over 14 years. Are we due? Yeah. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Are you prepared for it? That's the question.
Right, right. And part of that analogy, though, is that if our foot is on the gas pedal and we're the one speeding, we're controlling that. I think that most people don't realize they're taking that much risk. When they come into your office and they do one of these evaluations and you're taking a look at their risk, do they even realize how much risk they're taking?
They don't. Well, and there's multiple types of risk. So we're talking about market risk right now, but what happens to someone that gets so afraid and they put all their money in cash? Well, now you're being,
it's kind of an overcorrection of the wheel, right?
Overcorrection. So we want to have the right strategy for all of the money, not necessarily just saying, okay, I'm going to put all in cash. I'm safe, but now I'm not keeping up with inflation. I still might run out of money. Or I'm taking too much risk. I could take a huge step backwards, take a 40, 50, 60% drop, 85% drop like I did with grandma's money, and ultimately put yourself in a situation where it takes so much time to recuperate, where you might have to go back to work. Why, if we won the game of life, would we want to start back over at the beginning? Let's just enjoy retirement. It's about having the right strategy and the right plan.
And so why take that much risk when you're at retirement? But I think for a lot of folks out there, they just don't realize it.
They don't.
I know one of the things that you do, there's a QR code that can be up on the screen, and if we point our phone at it, so if you put it on the photo, right, and you go right to your screen on there, you're going to have a website that pops up. It's canithrive.com. What's there for them to use?
You know, what's really neat about this is that we've created really a confidence assessment to really figure, are you structured in your current situation to thrive? Do you know some of the basic things that we need to make sure that we have and understand to ensure that our dream is not going to be compromised? We don't want you shrinking up in retirement because you got too much risk and you lose money in your portfolio. We don't want you shrinking up in retirement because you haven't planned for inflation, right? And it's eroding at our purchasing power. We don't want you shrinking up and surviving in retirement because what have we done? We didn't plan for taxes going up on us because our debt's at all-time highs. And 72 cents of every tax dollar only pays for 4 programs, right? National Defense, National Debt, Medicare, and Medicaid. And national debt grows every single day. Look, our tax plans are going to be reassessed in 2026. Ends in 2025. It goes back before Congress. We are probably kidding ourselves if we don't think that some type of tax increase is going to happen. Now, what's the worst? If we're being proactive, Spike, are you proactive? Do you even know the worst tax times in history? Are you prepared for things like 50%, 70%? Like we saw in the 70s, or 94% at a high like we saw in the 40s. You know, I sat down with a gentleman just the other day. $10 million in pre-tax retirement assets. He turned 72 in a year. You know what that's going to do? He had no preparation for this. Nobody was looking at tax planning with him in any way. And you know what's going to happen? The RMDs are going to push him into the top tax bracket for the rest of his life. And so wherever that decides to move or go, can you imagine if it goes back to 94%? A $10 million portfolio would, look, think about that. Cut it in, even if it got cut in half, would you want $5 million gone? Look, we can plan for this type of stuff. And that is what's really important. So we look at the whole picture, but part of that picture and what we can offer is a complementary tax plan.
Right.
Now, what are we going to dig into on that? Well, when we get to that point as a customer, we're going to look at how long, if we keep our money where it is, how much is it going to cost you in taxes over your lifetime? RMDs, capital gains, death taxes to your family. If you haven't assessed that with somebody, they're not doing tax planning with you. Okay, we don't prepare taxes, but what we want to do is help you optimize it. You know, most people might end up in a situation where they're going to take their taxable money and cut it in half over their lifetime. I want you to think about that. How much money do you have right now in IRAs, 401ks that are pre-tax? Take a pen out, write it down, cut it in half. How would that impact your dream? Do you know the answer? Do you want to? If you do, pick up the phone, call 855-855-7655. Visit our website, canithrive.com. Take our confidence assessment. And most importantly, folks, don't delay, all right? We want to start to address this now, but time ultimately creates a bigger situation for you.
Thank you, Ben. We've got to take a very quick commercial break. When we get back from this, I'm going to ask the question to Ben, is it too late to start your retirement planning? We'll get his answer. But please take advantage of this complimentary offer. Make sure that you have a tax planning forward strategy. Know what risk you're taking. And the best way to do that is call the phone number you see right here. This is broadcasting all over Chicagoland, so as you can imagine, his appointment book is going to fill up quickly. For the first 20 callers, you can come in for an appointment absolutely complimentary. 855-855-7655. More Retire Your Way with Ben Heizer when we get back right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back, Chicagoland, to Retire Your Way with Ben Heizer. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. Ben, I love the fact that you were really passionate about that last segment because not knowing your risk can be really dangerous for folks out there, especially heading into retirement. And I don't think it's the viewer's fault. No. I think they've been sort of following a pathway that they've been kind of told, or maybe just following the herd because they really didn't know better. It's not their fault. We've been told, save into this 401k for decades and decades. But nobody told them what the ramifications were going to be of it. So you said we need to start thinking tax forward, correct?
Well, you know, Spike, you bring up a great point, and this is not uncommon. And so oftentimes we can blame ourselves, but honestly, this is really just kind of an issue just in general. There's not a lot of education. You know, when I started out after college going into the financial world, I worked for the corporate America for a little while before I branched out on my own. And, you know, it's the same thing. It was a lot of, here, follow me, do what I tell you to do, and you're going to be okay. And maybe that's who you're working with right now. And, you know, things have been good for a really long time. The question is, do you know what's going to happen if it's not good? And if you don't have an answer to that question, you could have a really, really interesting situation where you may have won the game of life. You may have the assets to do it. But because we weren't educated on what we could do, and how it's going to impact us potentially in the long run, we weren't proactive to planning on that. You might find yourself in a situation where you're reacting. Now, when do we make the worst decisions? Look, I'm a father of 4. All right, and I don't want to get in trouble here, but my wife's probably watching. But hear what I would say. You know, when my wife and I aren't on the same page about something, right? Our kids can push our buttons, and if we don't have a plan to say, hey, this is the consequence for this action, and maybe you can relate with me on this if you're a parent or just in life, right? We have a situation where if we don't have a game plan for something, and we don't have a solution for it, we end up making reactionary decisions. What have you done in the past? Hey, when we went through an extended recession before, what happened? Did you lose 30, 40, 50%? You know, that happened in 01 and 02 after the dot-com bubble. What about the real estate, right? Crash of 2008 and 2009. It drove down our stock market. Folks, how much did you lose? Did you know that you could lose that much? Or are you like a lot of folks, and this is not your fault, that we end up hiring somebody, right? And we end up in this passive situation and this reactionary situation where we go, hey, you know what? Let's pick 2 big names, right? I'm in Vanguard, I'm with Fidelity. Okay, great. Well, Vanguard lost me half my money, Fidelity lost me half my money. What do? We fired both of them, we flip-flop, right? Because our brokers made us broker, and then the market went back up, and we feel like we have a strategy. That's not a strategy, it's not a game plan, and it's not you understanding your money. Do you want to understand your money? If you don't, That's okay. We're not the right firm. We like to empower our clients with knowledge.
You want to empower them with the knowledge of what to do with it. Which it reminds me, I know that you had a great announcement recently.
Oh, yeah.
We've known, and for the folks who have been watching your program for a long time here, listening to your radio show, you have been the Heizer Financial Group. But you've now grown in a way to be able to deal individually with your clients even better. Explain that.
You know, growth is so exciting. You know, it's been a dream of mine, obviously, from a very young age to have my own company. I wasn't really good at working for other people, right? I wanted to be able to bless people as much as I could, and only the way to do that wasn't being constrained by working underneath an umbrella. So, number one, we've always been completely independent. We've always been client-focused on empowering you with knowledge, education, evaluating if you have a need, because your dream is what's important. In fact, I would venture out to say that most of you are probably your own best financial advisor. You know what you want. You just may not know how to take the big picture, and you may not have the tools and resources that we do, right, to help you basically critically think through that and put the right plan, the right organization in motion, the right product to accomplish your dream. So we always focus with the dream. That hasn't changed, okay? But Heizer Financial Group was all about me. It was all about me, and it was very selfish, because you don't get to where you are without an amazing client base, number one. And where we've grown to be, we didn't get there without having amazing clients. When we've serviced hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars with our clients, we have over 1,000 client families that have entrusted us with their life savings, and that's a pretty big commitment for me, right? They're part of our family. We care about them. We want them to succeed. But it felt more about me. Yeah, retire your way is your dream. But what are we really doing? So as our group has grown, and we've added in different financial advisors and planners, and different folks that go out and
people to help you with the paperwork and loading the computers and just getting all of the events together, and even the people who help you put your shows together and everything. You've got a much larger team. But from what I understood, you were saying that it actually now helps you provide even more personalized, tailored advice.
Yep. So it's all about helping you thrive. That's what our company's about. So Retire Your Way is your dream. It's powered by Thrive. That's our company. We have all the tools necessary. It doesn't take away from the human touch. I am we like the high touch concept. We want to sit down with you. We want to shake your hand. We want to get to know you. That's face to face. We also have moved in to the 21st, second century, whatever we are in today, right? And we now can use technology to help us drive decisions. So it's not about our opinion anymore. It's about making educated decisions that are right for us, that we can see and tangibly touch, and ultimately say, that one's better for me than this one. This one helps my family. This one helps my growth. This one helps my income. And that allows us to custom tailor you to a risk, right? It allows us to custom tailor a style. You know what, honestly, a lot of people don't know that there's a couple different styles. As we've grown in education over time and brought on different partners, there's two portfolio management styles if you're going to have your money at risk. You got passive, which is what most of us do, and then we have active. I want you to think about this like driving a car. Passive cruise control. We set it, we forget it, we're moving along, right? If a risk comes in front of us, it doesn't protect us in any way. What about the new stuff? Adaptive cruise control. It's using different technology in a system. It doesn't replace you as a driver, but what it can do is protect you. And so if a hazard comes in your lane, it can slow you down or stop you and then speed you up when the coast is clear. That's more of an adaptive cruise control concept. We work with portfolio managers that do both. And we want to work with the top ones out there to make sure that we bring them to you. That's what we do as an independent. So do you know your risk? Do you know the risk speed? Do you know the maximum drawdown? Do you know the tax implications to your money over time, right? Do you have an income plan that's not only going to prepare you for increasing income, but also for your tax liability in the future? If you don't, pick up the phone, 855-855-7655. Visit us at canithrive.com. Take a confidence assessment, but most importantly, pick up a pen and paper and write down our number. Call us today. Get on the schedule so that we can see if we can help you retire with your goals and dreams, retiring your way.
Ben, we've got to take a very quick break. Folks, please do that. Pick up a pen right now, or if it's up there, use the QR code. Take your phone, put the photo on there, and take a look at that QR code on there and get the information. It'll take you right over to the website to do your risk assessment. But more importantly, sit down with Ben and his team to find out, are you taking too much risk in your retirement? It's really simple. All you've got to do is call the phone number right here, 855-855-7655. When we get back, I'm going to ask Ben the question, Are we going to be okay when it comes to retirement? Right after this break.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Ben Heizer, Chicagoland. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. Ben, you've changed from the Heizer Financial Group to Thrive, which is helping your clients make sure that they don't just live or kind of walk their way through retirement, to really thrive, to really live their dreams. It's provided you more tools. Is that the most common question that you receive, or one of them? Am I going to be okay in retirement? And how do you answer that?
Man, I have people come in all the time. Am I going to be okay? Where is this? And so, again, as we've kind of looked at life, you know, it's pretty natural that we go in and we get attracted to something. We might purchase a product to hopefully solve a problem. Or we look at something and say, hey, this guy says I'm going to get bigger growth, so let me go work with them. And in a way, it's just kind of how human nature, it's kind of how the financial industry has been. Hey, follow me. Do what I tell you to do and you're going to be okay. And yet, is that really what it should be? Is that how it should be? Is that really helping somebody thrive? Look, for me to thrive, I need to understand something. Now, do I need to know the molecular structure? No, but hey, I know Advil, if I have a headache, is going to take my headache away, right? But a pharmacist, they know the molecular structure of what that is, and they could sit there and bore us all day long. And so it's interesting. I grew up with two amazing parents. My dad was an engineer. My mom is a teacher, okay? And so I got both. Now, if you want to know if I know the molecular structure
of your
on the
retirement
financial
plan,
side of a retirement plan and looking at it from a macro perspective, that's something I'm actually really, really gifted at. And I have a lot of experience with it. With that being said, also, my mom taught me to take the complexity of being able to teach and try to simplify that. Not everybody understands all the different tax codes that are available. Yes, we need to have tax diversification. If we don't, what could happen? You might be going along and all your income in retirement is taxable, but what do we get to spend? Is it the gross amount of money or is it the net amount of money? So am I going to be okay? That's a great question. And that's why, you know, honestly, we have, there's a QR code that we have. You can click, take your phone out, right? What is it? You take the
you go to
camera.
the photo, go to the camera section, and you point it at the screen. And then it's going to pop up, and it's going to take you right to canithrive.com. And this is the risk assessment?
Yeah, so this is going to basically give you some questions to answer to figure out, hey, are you comfortable? Yeah, can I thrive? Am I going to be okay? If you have some holes, wouldn't you want to know about them when? I want to know about them now so I can start preparing for them. Look, we want to get proactive and make sure that you understand the aspects behind the risk that you're taking, right? The quantify that into a risk speed so it's customized and tailored to you. We need to be educated on how taxes are going to be going up and how that's going to impact the lifestyle that you can have with your cash flow, right? So when we look at like an income plan, for an example, we need to look at all of these things. It's all kind of symbiotic, it grows together. So when we're making a recommendation, when we're looking at somebody's income need, if you want to call us for an income plan, because you're sitting there going, am I going to be okay? What's the biggest concern of Americans? Running out of money in retirement. We have a solution, we have the answer. But we have to look at what you're currently doing, right? Have we prepared for things like increasing taxes over time? What about inflation and how that's eroding at our purchasing power? Do we have a plan for that, a solution? There are asset classes that we can put our money into that not only will grow over time, but they'll give us a private pension that allows us to increase our income over time with things like inflation and tax increases. Would you like to prepare for it? Do you want it guaranteed? Do you have a guaranteed income plan? If not, you might just be hoping that the money that you have grows enough to draw from it. And that, to me, is not really, that's a disservice that somebody's done for you. And so why don't we take a look at your current situation and just, hey, will I make it? We know we can plug it all in. We can see what you're doing and say, hey, you're good. But an interesting thing, I had a client come in just the other day, and we looked at it and said, hey, you're currently not broken, right? You're going to take all your money, live your lifestyle, and leave $1.9 million to your family. Or we can make a couple tweaks. And by making those couple tweaks, you'll leave $2.3 million to your family because we've used the right tools for the right job. Would you rather leave $400,000 more for your family if you've done the work and you're okay? Look, if you're looking to optimize your situation, it starts with giving us a call. 855-855-7655. What we're offering is a complimentary, income plan. We'll dig into all this stuff, looking at the taxes, inflation that I just mentioned. If you're not prepared for that, give us a call today. Visit us on canithrive.com, and let's see if we can connect and get an appointment to see if we can help you thrive and retire your way.
And for somebody who's got even more immediate needs, I'm going to give out the phone number right now. Very quick, last question. For somebody who might be embarrassed, is it too late? Too late to pick up the phone and call you?
Yeah, please don't be embarrassed. It's not your fault. This is not what you do for a living, right? But we don't want to bury our head in the sand. We got to be proactive to it. You got to be reactive right now. If you don't feel prepared, you know if you feel uncertain. If you're feeling uncertain, the solution is picking up the phone and calling us at 855-855-7655 today. Don't delay.
Thank you so much, Ben. We're going to be back again next week. So that's going to be it for today's program. Wonderful information out here, but I'm going to go ahead and remind the viewers, folks, if you're serious about retirement, are you worried about taking too much risk? Do you know if you have a legacy plan in place? Is these kinds of things keeping you up at night? Are these questions bothering you? Don't let it do that to you anymore. Give Ben and his team a call right here. We are broadcasting all around Chicago, so I'll say this. For the first 20 callers, you'll get an absolutely complimentary review. Just call 855-855-7655. More Retire Your Way with Ben Heizer next week.